Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Coming to silence means coming to your essential nature, being your essential nature. That essential nature is your true self, and the nature of the true self is all pervasiveness. And when we hear this, it leads to a conclusion that if it is all pervasive, why can't I focus on my wife, husband, something outside, and come to know myself? And this brings about this outward orientation, brings about the world, and we go from pillar to post looking for that self in the outside world, but returning with an empty hand. And that happens with every interaction, that happens with every desire, that happens with every life. We return back with empty hands. Somewhere in our life, as a human being, the grace of the Lord showers upon us, and we sincerely, genuinely become interested in knowing the truth. If it has not been possible to know the self by interacting with the outside world, by searching for it in the outside world, is there another place? Yes, there is. And that is within. Then what is the requirement to know the self, to be the self that I already am? First, we have to come within. Within from what? I have to turn introverted. Extroverted brought about the world. Introverted will delete the world. So you start deleting one by one. But just don't delete. After deleting, ascertain that what is left after deleting is you. And that you is Vedanta. That you is the Maunam, the silence. That you is the one without a second. We'll just, in today's session, we'll do a small exercise by which it will become distinctly clear that we are other than who we have till today thought we are. So first part was dealing with the world, we haven't found the answer. We haven't developed the vision to see the world as divine. Yes, it is divine, no doubt, because divinity is all pervasive. There is no place divinity is not. But in the present situation, condition that I am, with the mindset that I don't have the eye to look at the world and come to the conclusion, oh, this is the divine, this is the Ishvara, this is the self. I don't have that. So the first requirement, leave the world where it is and be inspired to begin the journey, the search in a opposite direction, which is inwards, not outwards, but inwards. The first frontier that comes across us is our body. The moment we leave the world, how do we perceive the world? Through our senses. How do we interact with the world? Through our body. We hold with our hands, we walk around in the world with our feet, with the mouth we eat the food that is produced in the world, and so on. So if this body's natural inclination is to interact with the world outside, because the senses are there, so the world is. If there are no senses, there is no world. So the first frontier, as we said, is this body. This body is made up of 5 karmendriyas: speech, hands, legs, anus and genitals, and 5 jnanendriyas: seeing, hearing, touching, feeling, tasting, smelling. We have to pacify them. This is the outer layer. The outermost was the world. The second is this body. Third will be the breath. Fourth will be the mind. Fifth will be the intellect. Somewhere deep in the cave of the intellect, I can discover myself. This is just word knowledge. Now we have to make it into a direct experience. For that, I need to pacify this sheath called the body sheath, Annamaya Kosha. For that, a simple exercise is there. You take a deep breath, and while breathing out, keeping your body, back, neck, head in a straight line, feet flat on the ground, leave your notebooks, plastic, everything on the floor. Stop clicking the pens. No distractions. A smile on your face, a commitment in your heart, a deep urge to be. With all these ingredients, take a deep breath, and as you breathe out, scan your body from head to foot while breathing out slowly. Again, taking a deep breath, and while breathing out, bring your attention to your head, forehead, face, neck, chest, arms, stomach, legs, feet. Relax. Again, taking a deep breath. Imagine someone has dropped a bucket of cold water on your head and it's trickling down your body. Relax, relax, relax. Once more, taking a deep breath in and very gently, slowly scan your body from head to toe and relax. Observe your body. Imagine you're looking at it from the front. It is still, it is stable in the position that you are sitting. You are looking at it objectively. You can see the face, the chest, the stomach, the knees, the feet. While looking at the body from the front, understand all the future is for this body. Let go. Come to the right profile of the body. You will see the right ear, the right jaw, the right shoulder, the right arm, the right leg. Let go of all emotional attachments. Continue going around the body, come to the back of the body. Look at the back of your head, neck, back, and the lower back and the hips. Let go of the past. Continuing the circumambulation, come to the left hand side of the body. You will see the left ear, the left jaw, left shoulder, left arm, left elbow, and left leg. Give up all concepts, all ideas, notions about yourself or the world or God. Again, coming to the front. Look at the body from the top. It will be a funny view. With this exercise, we have established one thing, that the one who was seeing the body in the mind, imagining or projecting the front, the sides, the back of the body, is necessarily other than the body. Bring your attention to the one who is the observer of the body. And no more dialogue in the mind after that. The observer is other than the observed. The watcher is other than the watched. So who was looking at the body from all sides? I. Be that I. Try and bring that attention to this I. Not by thinking. Let the words that are coming to you guide your attention to the observer, to the I. Now be aware of your breath. You will observe that the breath is automatic. It's going in and it's going out. It's going in and it's going out. Without any efforts on your part. The moment you take charge of breath, it is called pranayam. When you allow the breath to be, then we are unclutched from it. Normally we don't think of the breath. But here we are initiating this so that we come to take the alamban, we take the support of the breath and come back to the observer of the breath. So watch the breath for a few minutes, maybe for some time. Let it go in and come out. Let it go in and come out. If you don't interfere with it, if you don't control it, if you don't guide it, the breath will slowly come to be slow and shallow. The journey of the breath initially feel the breath entering into your stomach, abdomen, and then coming out. Next, feel the breath going up to the chest and then returning out. Just observe. Again, observe the breath going up to your throat and returning as out breath. Again, the breath goes up to the nasal passage and returns back. And finally, the breath enters into your nostrils and without traversing the entire passage, returns from the nostrils itself. This is for your guidance. If we are relaxed, then alone this will happen. That the breath enters into the nostrils Without even entering into the nasal passage, it returns back. When the breath goes all the way to the abdomen, the body expands and body contracts. When it goes to the chest, the chest expands and contracts. There is movement. But when the breath goes only into the nostrils and comes out, there is hardly any expansion and contraction of the body. The body becomes still. The disturbance at the gross level becomes almost zero. Your body gets locked into position. It settles down. Some people may feel initially the body becomes heavy, but by continued practice, that leads to lightness, as if you are floating. But don't look forward to those experiences. So now, watch the breath at your nostrils. For some people, it might help. The in-breath is cold, the out-breath is warm at the nostrils. You are watching the breath come in and go out. Who is the watcher? Who is the observer? I am. Shift your attention to the self, to the observer, and be. Don't initiate thinking. It will lead to silence. Maunam Vyakhyat. This is the exposition of the silence. And that silence am I. And every time you slip away from the I and your attention goes to the body or the breath, don't feel distressed, don't initiate too many thoughts. Simply do the exercise of observing the body or the breath, and dive back into the self, the observer. Remain as the observer. as the observer, when your attention has become steady on what you're observing without distraction, without too much thinking, while observing the observed, be aware of the observer. And it may happen many times for you. For some, it may happen once and you are okay. Nothing wrong. Again and again, again and again. Every time you get distracted, come back to the eye. Our observation at this moment is the body is still locked in its place, stable, not fidgety. Our observation also is that the breath, to a large extent, is very soft, slow, shallow. Third observation is hardly the thoughts of the world are in our mind. Fourthly, the observer of the body and the observer of the breath are the same. And that's the I, that's me. There are no two different observers. And this observer was undisturbed by the body, undisturbed by the breath. Coming back to this conscious principle, coming back to this I, which is untouched by the world, by the body, which is also part of the world, by the breath, which is also a part of this world, is coming to the conscious silence. Silence is not an object. The world becomes silent. In other words, thoughts of the world become silent. Thoughts with reference to the body become silent. Thoughts with respect to the breath become silent. And what remains behind when all these thoughts dissolve with reference to world, body and breath, what remains behind is the Maunam Vyakhyat Prakatita. This self reveals in silence. When too much outer orientation is there, the revelation of what is remains hidden. Just as when too many waves are there on the ocean, the reflection of the moon remains hidden. When the waves on the ocean subside, the reflection of the moon, which was always there, reveals itself. This reflection of the moon was never disturbed by the waves. Exactly the same way. The waves of thoughts with reference to the world, with reference to the body, with reference to the breath, This is an exercise to silence them. We cannot silence the self. Self is ever. Self is continuous. Self is unchanging, and that I am. Breath was changing, body was changing, world was changing. I am the unchanging one. Spend as much time being aware of this unchanging principle as the life comes and meets us. We cannot stop life from happening. We cannot stop the world from coming to us. But by disciplined practice, as we did today, 2-3 times a day, we can build up the stamina of being the self rather than being somebody or someone with reference to something or someone. Those who want to, take a deep breath. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Slowly move your toes, move your fingers, move your shoulders. Turn your neck left, right, up, down, and very gently get up.